But yeah, Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in terms of the overall damage done, yeah, I mean, it was the left largely that was rioting and all the rest of it. But I'm far less concerned with a Wendy's burning down than with like peaceful synagogue attendees being slaughtered.
Okay, wait, why do we,
Sure.
hold on. Okay, you just did it. It's actually so fucking disgusting, okay? If you want, go look, like, this is like saying, like, who the fuck cared about what happened in Syria, so a couple of Walmarts got blown up, right? Like, dude, some of these blocks were, like, absolutely fucking totaled. Even in just Kenosha, this small city, I think that the property damage got up to, like, $50 million just for that small city, right? We're not just talking about one Wendy's burning down. We're talking about tons of businesses, some chains, some
Okay,
local
well,
businesses.
I was trying to be poetic about it, but
You're not
my
being-
point
no,
is
hold on.
property
Wait,
damage is
hold on.
less important than human life.
First of all, that's
is
not
the general point I'm
property,
making.
To some people, property is their life. Okay, so stop with the dumb fucking arguments. Okay, number one, number two, you were trying to be poetic.
No, property isn't their life, Destiny. That's just not fucking true. They may find it very, very important and a cornerstone of what they think they are, what they've built around themselves. But if they're still alive, they can rebuild that.
If
that's
you don't
still
have
a thing.
if you own
It's
a
not
business and that's how you provide for your family, that property may as well be your life. Okay. Now, for those of us here with wealthy parents who live in gated suburban communities, maybe you don't understand that perspective, but there's a reason why when you see these riots happen, there are people crying out in the street saying, "This is my business. Why are you doing this? Like, please stop," or whatever, right? And
Well, I do hope you're not impugning me as being from a gated community, because I'm not surely not. I know I've got a British accent, but we're not all rich.
Sure, you just give a very white gated community perspective, but maybe you got that way all on your own, okay? So the problem is that, like,
Hang on,
when
motherfucker, you're the one
can
going
I
on
finish
about
responding
if
to this
only
guy's
50
point?
people,
Jesus
if only
Christ.
50
All right.
people get killed, that's
All right.
fine, because you're not the one that's going to get killed. You're the
hold
white
on.
rich man.
Okay, so yeah, so
Destiny,
I'm just
finish
saying
your
that, like,
point. Go ahead.
people keep trying to frame this as like, oh, it was only I don't care about a Wendy's burning down. It wasn't just a Wendy's burning down. And if anything, you should care about this stuff burning down because that's what's causing people to take up arms and go out on the street and fucking march around being anti or counter protesters. So you probably should be somewhat concerned about it. Also, this idea that the BLM, the rioting was in response to the George Floyd stuff, just because something happened that was horrible doesn't give you the excuse to go and burn down a fuck ton of private businesses. Okay, so that is not a valid response.
So you prefer businesses over human lives? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he does. He genuinely does.
I prefer
Yeah.
people to not burn down private property. Yes.
Right,
You're pivoting my question. Hold on. Can you give me 1 second? I just want to talk to Destiny really quick. You're pivoting my question. So you prefer to lose human lives over losing a couple of buildings, which, by the way, most of the time are insured, get rebuilt almost literally the day after. So you prefer to protect those buildings rather than the human lives that are being lost. Which, by the way, George Floyd was murdered. He was literally choked for 9 minutes.
Wow, 9 minutes. Wow. So have you ever filed an insurance claim without the help of your mom or dad before? What is this argument of like, oh, well, there's an insurance. It's easy to get back. Insurance is a huge fucking hassle to get paid out sometimes. And there was that as much was said by a lot of the people that own these businesses in Minneapolis. Not all of them were covered for the types of damages.
Not answering my question.
What, you just ranted for 5 fucking minutes about irrelevant shit.
Do you prefer human lives over a building and insurance claims?
It depends on who the aggressor is. That's going to be the answer every single time.
Oh, so it depends.
It depends.
That's all I need to know.
I don't know. Either my mic is cutting out. Either my
know.
mic is cutting out, or your ears are not working. So let me say this one more time. If you are running down to burn somebody else's shit down, or destroy their business, or destroy their property, then yeah, in the United States, it seems like you probably have some right to defend that stuff. Do you think people should be able to indiscriminately burn down businesses?
Definitely worth losing a life over.
Well, hey, the people making the decision. Wait, no, wait. Hold on. I'm going to go to this line of questioning. Who's making the decision to lose their life?
Well, in some cases, I think. Okay.
Wait, holy shit! Are you the progressive brat? Is my camera fucking? I want her to answer.
So people that choose. Oh, hold on, Destiny. So people that willingly go to Black Lives Matter protests to actually protest something that they've been protesting for years prior, and nobody has been listening to them up until the point that they start rioting. So you're saying that they choose to go to these protests willingly, and they decide they go knowing that they're going to die at those protests. Is that what you're saying?
We're not talking about protesting, honey. We're talking about burning down.
Hey,
she called her out honey earlier. Heem, stop fucking simping. Are you fucking serious right now? She's literally called like 3 people to this panel honey. Okay, call them I'm Midwestern. I can say that. Okay.
Nobody call anybody honey.
Okay,
please,
she's not allowed to say anymore either. Then, okay.
Okay, please don't.
So there is a difference.
The fuck?
There is a difference. There is a difference between protesting and rioting. Do you acknowledge that?
She gave the justification
do you acknowledge the fact? Do you acknowledge the fact that Black Lives Matter had been protesting peacefully for years prior to the rioting with George Floyd? Do you acknowledge that?
Of course I do. 93% of the protests were peaceful. However, Kenosha militia people didn't show up because of peaceful protests. They showed up because of over $50 million in property damage. Do you acknowledge that?
All my question was to you was that if you prefer human lives over property, and you basically responded.
She's not going to engage with the
question.
I
got my answer.
Wait, one sec.
She's not going to engage.
I'm gonna draw the bridge, okay? I think what Destiny is saying is it depends on the context. In some situations, you could justify defending your property at the price of someone's life, is what he's saying, I think. But what I think that what Ariana is saying is that, like, you acknowledge, Destiny, that there is systemic inequalities when it comes to policing and so on and so forth, and that these things have been on the forefront of minorities and marginalized people's concerns for decades now, and it's gone unaddressed. So it's not as though they're like rioting and burning down buildings just for jokes or like to get the newest Jordans. It's because there's like an actual thing that's going unaddressed. I've heard you.
I understand this. Hold on. I don't need this. All this background is not relevant. You don't need to go and blow up private businesses to protest your point.
No, of course. Yeah,
I just think Destiny and I fundamentally disagree. I think that's what's going on. I think we fundamentally disagree on where we. Can I speak, Rob, really quick? Damn.
Let her finish.
Just give me like 2 seconds.
Okay,
I think Destiny and I just fundamentally disagree of when a person's life should be taken. Personally, I just don't think it's justifiable under any circumstance when a person's going to protest.
Okay,
but then Destiny disagrees with that. I just think we fundamentally disagree. That's it. I'm just gonna land my plane there.
Okay. One final question, and then I'm done. Okay. In the 1921 Tulsa race riots or whatever, if black people would have defended their property from white people coming to blow their property up, do you think that would have been allowed? If white people were only going to show up and blow their property up and leave, do you think that black people had a right to protect their property there from white people coming in to do it?
I don't think any person should die at a protest, no matter what race. I don't care if they were a swerve. I don't think it's justifiable.
So in the event of like Black Wall Street being burned to the ground, okay, do you think that if black people wanted to defend their property there from the white people that were coming,
wanted to, they couldn't.
But if they could,
let's rephrase that.
If they could, I don't need to rephrase it. It's a historical event. It's already happened, okay? If they could
but you said if they did, which they couldn't. That's because they literally could not.
Oh my fucking God, it's a hypothetical. Okay, hold on, shut up. We're up to 30% right now. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, let's say that they show up with firearms. Black people, let's say they could show up with firearms to defend their property. Would they be allowed to do that in your world, or do they have to stand by and watch it all be burned to the ground?
That's different.
Why are you bringing up black people in this? Like I just told you that I don't think it is justifiable for any person to die at protest or riot. That's just my explanation for it. We fundamentally disagree on that. You bringing up the Tulsa massacre and if black people could or they couldn't, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter what race, who is defending what. I don't think a person should die at a protest that turns into a riot. Protesting is our fundamental right in America. I lived in Iran for a year.
Hold on, you don't have a fundamental. You don't have a right to riot. You don't have a right to riot.
Let her finish.
Bye. Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.